Week 4, let's go. Thursday Night Football, Dallas at the Giants. I think this is a perfect bounce back game for the Giants. I'm pretty sure Dak is I think he's only ever lost like 2 games to the Commanders and the Giants combined in his
Hmm.
career. So this is a great spot, even though the Giants looked much better over the last couple of weeks. Don't think they can get this one done against a hungry Cowboys team.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, it definitely seems strange for the Cowboys to lose another one here. Uh, I know that they're not at home this time, but they need a win, and they've got a
Yeah.
pretty. I think they have a relatively decent matchup here, so I'm taking Cowboys as well.
Cool. Cincinnati at Carolina. I have to continue the role with the Bengals. Unfortunately, when we look back on this year, you'll see that probably picking the Bengals for me was not great because I have picked them
Hmm.
every week so far. Or actually, no, I did pick the Chiefs last week. So at least not 0-3 on the Bengals. But if they lost this one, then yeah, I think you can count them out for
They're
the
washed.
season. But
Yeah.
this game, I mean, they need this game. This game is absolutely desperate. I would put the rent on this one. I think it's the lock of the week. I really do. I mean,
The lock of the week?
I think it's the lock of the week. And I picked the Panthers last week. I know what the Panthers are about. I'm telling you, they're not going to be able to pull it off back to back. I know it's at home, but it's a noon game. The Bengals
Yeah.
need this more than anyone else, and they're going to get it.
I can agree with you. You do seem to know your teams, like the Bengals and what, or I guess you know the Panthers more than other people, and so I wouldn't be surprised if you correctly snipe this one. I've got Carolina down as my pick right now. It could be more of a bit of an overreaction to the Andy Dalton performance
Yeah.
last week, but look at some of the teams that Cincinnati loses to, bro. I mean, they were positioned for success, and they just haven't had it happen yet.
They've been so unlucky though. I mean, against the Patriots, they fumbled like in the red zone. The tight end fumbled in the red zone. They only lost by 6. I mean, last night against the Commanders, Jaden Daniels had his best performance of his entire life and probably
Yeah.
one of the best quarterback performances that you'll see this entire season. I mean, the
Mhm.
accuracy, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. You won't see that really going forward. You won't see a quarterback that accurate, that productive in a
Mhm.
game without turnovers or punts. And like for
Right.
that to happen to the Bengals in a game where they also don't turn the ball over or punt, that's just crazily unlucky. They put up 33 points against the Commanders, who I think have one of the better, like a top 16 defense in the league. So I
Hmm.
just think, like I said, the Chiefs have been very lucky this year. Bengals very unlucky, and the law of averages will always kick in.
That's a fair point, but there's also a fine line between just getting very unlucky and just being outright bad.
Don't you dare call my Bengals bad.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But if they lose to Carolina next week, bro, you're going to be coming back to the pod and you're going to have some different thoughts on the Bengals.
If they come back, if they lose this game, I'm done with them.
You're done with the Bengals?
I'll buy a Panthers hat.
Really?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Dude, I would actually love to see that. You need to come to the pod
I
wearing the
will.
Panthers hat next week if
If
they
yeah,
win.
if they lose, yeah, if the Bengals lose this week, I'll buy
Yeah.
a Panthers hat and I'll have it for the following week's podcast.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. New Orleans at Atlanta. This was a tough game for me to pick. I think Atlanta's looked a little bit better than I thought they would, and they're at home. But I just feel like the Saints are going to be able to bounce back after a ugly loss to the Eagles where they really could have taken that game. But yeah, I'm going to take the Saints here, although I really don't feel good about this one. I think as high as I am on the Saints, this is a game that they would probably lose just because it's on the
Hmm.
road against a divisional rival. They still can win 10, 11 games this year and drop this one. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of a tough spot for them. I'm still going to roll with them, though.
Yeah, the division rivalry matchups are always hard ones to pick here. And yeah, it definitely is causing me to, I don't know, question this pick a little bit, but I'm also going to be taking New Orleans here. Kirk hasn't shown me enough to want me to pick the Falcons over a team that has really exceeded my expectations of them in the first couple weeks. So for that reason, I'm going to be rolling with New Orleans.
Good stuff. Jacksonville at Houston. I think after what we've seen through the first 3 weeks, this is an easy pick. It's got to be the
Agreed.
Texans. Jacksonville's looks so bad, so inept. They're on the road here. Houston bound to bounce back after getting blown out at Minnesota. It's a perfect game for them to bounce back here at home against an 0-3 Jaguars team. And yeah, it's gonna get ugly for them, going 0-4 here.
Yeah, bro. There's hardly anything else to say about this game. Like Texans are solid, and Jacksonville just is not. Like
Simple
it's
as
literally
that.
it's an easy pick. Yeah,
Yeah. This is probably even more of a lock than the Bengals pick.
yeah. It would be my lock of the week, actually.
This might also be another lock here. Jets at home against Denver. I think Denver, they got their one win, and now it's time to go back to being bad. They will not be able to put up nearly as many points against the Jets defense as they did against the Bucks. I think the Jets are going to start rolling teams now. I think the Jets might be one of the best teams just to bank on every week to cover. They covered against the Titans. They covered against the Patriots. And while they didn't cover week one against the Niners, I think they are going to be a really good team going forward. And yeah, this could get ugly for the Broncos.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I like the pick. Definitely feels like Jets showed a little bit more talent in the last week. I know that they had a pretty easy matchup in facing New England, but Aaron's kind of back a little bit, showing glimpses of his former self. So I'm going to be taking them against a relatively inexperienced Denver QB.
Yeah, I agree. And they're also coming off of a couple extra days of rest because they played on Thursday.
Yep, yep.
Minnesota at Green Bay. This might be the game of the week. I think it's the first time where Minnesota kind of comes down a couple pegs here. Jordan Love will probably play in this game. And it's tough. Malik Willis been playing well. You don't know. Is Jordan Love fully ready? They might send Malik Willis out there again. I just can't see Minnesota going 4-0, especially on the road here at Green Bay. I would like to know who's starting at quarterback for Green Bay, though. I would definitely that information would be very beneficial for this pick. But I'm going to
Hmm.
roll with Green Bay. I think with either quarterback at the helm, they'll get it done.
There we go, dude. Uh, I can't say that I necessarily agree with the pick with as well as Minnesota
Yeah.
has been playing. But it's a fair pick. Like if Jordan Love is back in this game, like this could really be a good one. But with the way Minnesota's been playing, I just can't bring myself to pick against them, especially knowing the risk involved of Jordan Love might not play. And if he does play, he also might still be recovering a little bit from his injury, a little bit rusty. Just feels like there's too many risks involved with picking Green Bay against a solid 3-0 team right now.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I hear where you're coming from, but
Hmm.
it's hard not to pick Minnesota after how dominant they've looked. I just, again,
Yeah,
big believer in the law of averages where
that's totally
they
fair.
a team that we thought would be poor this year, looking so good, like there has to be some semblance of that struggle that we thought they would endure. There has to be
Yeah.
some seed, some sapling of
The
their
Sackling is
struggle.
back.
Yeah, exactly. There has to be like some sliver of them not being dominant this year. Like it's got to be in there somewhere, and this might be the week where it rears its head a little bit.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, Pittsburgh at the Colts. I'm gonna take a Pittsburgh to go 4-0. I can't believe I'm saying that. I just after seeing how bad the offense, or at least Anthony Richardson, played against the Bears this past week, I don't think you can play that bad again and beat the Steelers. I think the Steelers will be able to stop the run game a little bit better than the Bears were able to, and then force Anthony Richardson to throw, which obviously, turnover prone. While he's, got a pretty good deep ball, he's got big play capabilities, the intermediate. Like I saw him just completely sail a couple balls in this game against the Bears. It's just like the Bears getting so lucky, getting some big breaks and just not being able to
Hmm.
cash any of it in.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It certainly feels strange to pick Pittsburgh to go 4-0 here, but Colts feel like a different team from the way they were in week one. Anthony Richardson felt like he was playing great in week one. I know he had a couple of those deep balls that probably padded his stats a little bit, but
Yeah.
he hasn't been the same player in week two and week three. So, going to be taking Pittsburgh here as well.
Nice. Yeah. Rams at the Bears. I can't believe I'm actually picking the Bears, but I just feel like they're bound to win this one. I think they match up very well against the Rams, who have a beat up offensive line. I think the Rams, are kind of surprised with themselves. They're like, oh my God, we beat the Niners after being down 10. I can't believe it. Maybe we're not so bad with all the injuries after all. But then, they go on the road to Chicago. The weather, I don't think it'll be great. I think it'll be a little rainy, which plays for the Bears' favor, in my opinion. I think this is a game that the Bears, it's definitely winnable for them, looking, with the current state of each team and what they've just come off of the
Mm-hmm.
previous week. So I'm going to actually take the Bears.
It's a kind of a bold pick. I know that the Rams are pretty beaten up, but with the way the Bears have been playing, I'm having a hard time justifying picking them here. Caleb did have a better week last week. I will give you that, but the Rams just have more. I don't know. They're better coached, I
They're
think,
definitely better
and
coach. I'll give you
they've
that.
got more talent on the roster. And yeah, I mean, I prefer the Rams here, especially
Yeah.
after being able to take down a good team in San Francisco.
I wouldn't mind you being right. I think I had the Rams winning like 13 or 14 games in the
You did,
preseason. And so,
yeah.
yeah, we kind of need them to get some. And I don't think they'll even get close to that with, out Cup, without Puka. But
Hmm.
yeah, I wouldn't mind. I think they could totally win this game for sure. But I just feel
Yeah,
like this might be one of those, sneaky Bears victories. All
fair
right,
enough.
Eagles at Tampa Bay. I think the Eagles get one here on the road. They obviously got embarrassed by the Bucks last year in the playoffs. The Bucks just got embarrassed by the Broncos, and for them to, lose back to back at home is kind of crazy. But it's gonna be tough here. I think the Eagles are heating up. I would like to know the status of Devontae Smith and AJ Brown before making this pick, but I think at least one of them will play, and I think they'll be fine. Dallas Goedert had 170 yards against the Bucks, or against the Saints rather. So I think if he even has a fraction of that, they'll have some good success in this game, and I think they'll be able to molest Baker a little bit with that poor offensive line.
Hmm. Yeah, I like the pick. I'm also going to be rolling with the Eagles here as well. I think Tampa Bay really showed their weaknesses in the past week or so. Um, Philly looked strong, getting a win against a solid New Orleans team. No, it was pretty low scoring, but even still, they still got the job done. So this is a game where the Eagles are positioned well to win the game.
I agree. All right, New England at San Francisco. Even though New England's had a couple extra days of rest, I mean, it has to be San Francisco. They're not going to go 1-3. New England is, oh my God, they're starting to fade quickly after that. Oh my God, we beat the Bengals. Well, we took the Seahawks to overtime. Well, it's time to actually, yeah, just be what we all thought you were going to be in the offseason. Jacoby Brissett's still starting at quarterback. Probably a good idea. You don't want to thrust Drake May in against the Niners on the road. Yeah, I think this could get ugly for the Patriots here.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to keep picking the 49ers when they have dropped two games already, but like it's against New England, bro. Like it has to be the pick here. It's got to be the
Yeah,
49ers. I just don't envision a situation where the 49ers are losing this game.
yeah. No, I totally agree with that one as well. All right, next up we have Washington, Arizona. Now, the only thing I'll say about this game is that, well, I'm taking Arizona. I just think you'll see a lot of ups and downs with these rookie quarterbacks this year. And while we had a big up there with Jaden Daniels, going 21 of 23, three total touchdowns against the Bengals on the road, I just don't see him replicating that or even coming close to replicating that. I think Arizona bounces back after a poor offensive performance. We saw the Commanders can definitely be scored upon. The Bengals put 33 up on them pretty easily. So I think I'm going to give this one to the Cardinals. I think, these are two solid teams. I'm honestly surprised the Cardinals are favored by 3.5. after what we saw them both do this past week. But yeah, over unders 50.5. This could be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to see it. I don't know. It seems like Jaden Daniels kind of got locked in the last one, and I'd like to continue to see that sort of production out of him. And like you said, I mean, if he is producing at that level, this could be a really good game, especially since Arizona actually seems to be relatively decent this year with Kyler back in business. I'm going to be taking Arizona here, but I wouldn't be surprised if Washington pulled out a sneaky win.
No, yeah, I agree with that as well. All right, Kansas City at the Chargers. I'm shocked that, I mean, I think, is Justin Herbert hurt? Is that what we're dealing with here? 8 point
Bro,
spread? Like, that's wild.
Justin Herbert's just like he's way past his prime, bro. Like he's like Trevor Lawrence. He's just past his prime.
No,
He's
I don't agree with that.
I
I
mean
He's played solid so far this
he,
year. They just haven't need him to go crazy.
he is questionable. He does have some sort of injury going on with him. I'm not sure what his injury is.
It's an ankle. His X-ray came back negative. Ah, man. Again, I really need to know the status on some of these players. I think Herbert's still a great player. The only thing is, like, the offensive system that Jim Harbaugh runs does not require him to do a whole ton. Like, he's
Mhm.
basically now like JJ McCarthy was on Michigan last year. He's going to be very like efficient, not throw for a ton, but successful, win a lot of games. I definitely like the Chargers +8. I'm gonna still roll with them. I'm gonna take them to win, which is crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna take them to
That
win.
is
I know.
that is a crazy pick, but it's kind of reminiscent of when I took the Raiders to beat the
Yeah,
Chiefs last year at like 11-point underdogs or 14 or something crazy like that. But yeah, dude. I mean, maybe it'll come to fruition. I think. I mean, I gotta still roll with the Chiefs here this week. But if you sniped this one, bro, that would be that would just be incredible. I
honestly,
would
I
be
don't feel
psycho.
great about it, but I do feel really good about Chargers +8. I will say that.
I could get behind that, but not Chargers money line.
All right, well, we'll see. I would love to know if Justin Herbert's actually gonna play or not. All right, Cleveland at Vegas. This is a tough one for me to pick. I'm gonna take Vegas here because they're at home. I think Cleveland's defense could fluster Gardner Minshew a little bit. So if I could predict a tie, I would, because this game, I think both teams are very evenly matched. They have a lot of different issues, and it seems like Vegas feels the same because they only have Vegas at -1. It's basically a pick 'em game.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point here. I'm going to be taking Vegas as well. I mean, they did snag a sneaky victory over Baltimore, but feels a little bit fluky to me. I mean, that
Yeah.
certainly wasn't in the cards to happen. I'm not saying that they're, a better team than Baltimore or anything, but just this one's more based on the home field advantage at this point, just because like both of the teams do feel kind of equally matched. So I'm going to be taking Vegas here, but really it could go either way.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. All right, Buffalo at Baltimore. Man, another very difficult game to pick. I'm actually going to take Baltimore here. I feel like some of these teams like the Chiefs and the Bills and the Vikings, it's tough to go 4-0. And the Seahawks, it's tough to go 4-0. I think they'll all go 3-1. I guess by per my picks, probably one of them will end up going 4-0, but for all four of those teams to go 4-0, I just feel like it's highly unlikely. And yeah, I mean, maybe the Chiefs are the one that goes 4-0 just because they got such a favorable matchup. I'm gonna take the Ravens here. I just feel like on the road, the Bills coming off all these blowouts, they're bound to kind of come back down to earth a little bit. I still think they'll be a great team, but I feel like the
Mhm.
Ravens kind of found something on the road at Dallas, and I think they're gonna shore up that defense that's kind of been blowing some leads in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, definitely a tough game to pick here. However, I think you already know the answer to what I gotta
Yeah,
say here, bro. It's got to be Buffalo for me.
that's fair.
Baltimore's shown some signs of weakness, and it will be a little bit crazy if they drop
Mhm.
here to 1-3. But they've
Yeah,
got a really tough matchup ahead of them, and I
it
love
is. Yeah.
Josh Allen's talent here in this game. And Yeah, I mean if Allen wins this game, bro, I mean this will really like position him well for
Yeah.
just the MVP race immediately.
No, I agree. I mean, he's already on track. Still hasn't thrown an interception yet. I think he's only had one fumble.
Fumble. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's been great. I feel like though he'll have an interception in this game.
Yeah, it's certainly possible with the Ravens defense.
Yeah. All right, Tennessee at Miami. I'm gonna take the Titans, a team I just don't think will go 0-4. A lot of my reasoning for these picks is because I don't think this team will go 4-0. I don't think this team
Hmm.
will go 0-4. Yeah, I mean, at Miami, Tim Boyle. Come on, you kidding me? It's got to be Tennessee here, even if Will Levis could probably turn the ball over multiple times. They'll still pull it out just because of how deficient Miami's going to be on offense. They probably would have a better chance if they put Tyreek at quarterback.
Yeah, honestly, bro, I agree with you. Like, I don't think I've ever like naturally picked like Tennessee. I'm sure I've probably done it like twice, maybe since we started recording the pod, over a year ago. But like, I'm gonna be taking them here because Miami can't seem to do anything without Tua on offense. So, gonna be rolling Tennessee this week.
Good stuff there. And finally, we have Seattle at Detroit. I'm going to take Detroit. I've been saying this for months now. Seattle's beaten the Lions in 2023 and 2022, both high scoring affairs. I don't think they go 3 years in a row, especially on the road at Detroit. I think this might be the lock of the week here. The Lions at home beating the Seahawks. Could still be a good game, but I really like the Lions in this spot.
Yeah, I think we like kind of touched on it already, but Seattle, they're not contenders, bro. They are pretenders. They are not a true 3-0 team.
Yeah.
Detroit is the better team here. So unless they make some really poor decisions or just don't come out ready to play, they're gonna win this game.
Sweet. We're on the same page for a lot of these games, just a couple in there that we deviate on.
Yeah.
All right, getting into the best bets here. I have a whole slew of them. I'm going to take Dallas minus 4.5. I think, like I said, they bounce back. I don't think they've covered the spread since week one, so I think they're due for one. Chargers plus 8, especially if Herbert plays at home. I feel like that's definitely coverable. Jets minus 7. Like I said, I think the Jets are going to be a good play every week in and week out. They have a good schedule. They're getting better, more cohesive as a team. Tennessee 0-3 against the spread so far, going up against another 0-3 against the spread team in the Dolphins. I think that the Tennessee Titans are going to come out and win by more than 1 point, so I'm going to take them on the -1, -110 there. Buffalo, Baltimore under 45.5. I think this game, while a lot of people might think it's an offensive fireworks show, I think it actually goes under. I also
Hmm.
like Pittsburgh, Indianapolis. I always want to say Indiana. Under 40. Again, with Pittsburgh, with Chicago, teams that have better defenses and maybe not so great offenses, I love the under. I mean, especially if you're going to give the Rams Chicago under 41. I love that. Although, yeah, I mean, the Rams gave up quite a few points to the Niners at home. Chicago's offense getting a little bit better at the end of that game against the Colts. So maybe this could go over, but I'm just going to keep riding it until it doesn't hit. Cleveland, Vegas over 37.5. I think this is one that actually goes over. While both teams, have not been great offensively, and except for the Raiders, that fluke game, like you were saying, against the Ravens. I think
Hmm.
this game still goes over. Philadelphia -2.5, -110 on the road at the Bucks. We kind of talked about that. I just feel like they win by a field goal or maybe 4 to 7 points. College wise, I'm gonna take Washington Rutgers under 46. I love that under there. A nice Big Ten bruiser matchup. Baylor plus 3.5. Nebraska -10. Think they bounce back. Louisville, Notre Dame under 48. I love that one. This might be the best bet of the week here. Again, a team like Notre Dame who's offensively challenged, but a great defense. They're at home. Louisville, pretty good on offense, but also probably a better defense than they have an offense, especially in this matchup here. So I love the under 48. Oklahoma -2 on the road at Auburn. Mississippi State plus 38.5 against Texas. It's basically their Super Bowl. Clemson, another team kind of like the Jets. You could just ride them week in, week out. They had that bad game against Georgia that sent them behind the sticks, but minus 21.5 here. I think that's doable. Georgia money line could go into a lot of reasons why I think they beat Bama here. I just think it's a revenge game from last year that kicked them out of the playoffs. I think this is a huge game for them, even though it's on the road. And then you have LSU minus 22. They're a team that's like 0-4 against the spread, so I'm gonna take them. I think they finally cover one. And then Michigan State plus 25 at home against Ohio State, who has not been challenged at all this year. I think they win, but don't cover.
Good stuff, dude. I like the bets. The one that's especially sticking with me is the Buffalo Baltimore under 45.5. That one feels nice to me, bro. It feels like a 20-17 finish to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, no,
I
I could
could,
definitely get behind that. I mean, both teams putting up big points this past week. I just don't think that
yeah,
happens again.
yeah, I can agree with that. I have one bet for you this week, bro. Just one. My bets have not been very surgical, but this is the
Yeah.
lock of the week. Taking out a mortgage. I'm throwing the whole balance on this bet,
Whoa.
bro. Buffalo money line. They
All
have to,
right.
bro. They have to. My whole reputation is on this bet right here. Allen's gonna come through for me. Big trust.
What worries me is that they're in plus money, but they have two more wins than the Ravens. Like, I know the Ravens are at home, but I feel better about my Baltimore pick seeing the way that this line's kind of at.
You think it's kind of a trap line?
Yeah, it's just one of those like almost situations where like a team goes from being like a underdog to a favorite. They almost like always lose. It's
Mm-hmm.
almost like the team that you think should be favored, not being favored here. I mean, I know the Ravens still very good, lost a couple close ones, but for
Yeah,
them to be favored here, I don't know. Buffalo's just dominated teams lately. I feel like, yeah, I mean, I kind of like the Ravens pick a little bit more seeing this line.
fair enough. But I can't I can't let my Bills do me dirty like that, bro. And plus money,
Yeah.
3-0, and they've been dominating teams. I gotta play some coin on it.
Yeah. I mean, it'll make that matchup we're going to the following week at Houston a lot more interesting if they win this game and
That's
Houston
true.
wins.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for that one, bro. We might have to record a live segment at the game to
We
toss
might
in
have
a
to.
podcast episode.
Dude, I'm telling like we really picked a good game to go to, considering how
Yeah.
both teams have started this year. I think, the both teams are liable to be 4-1 going into that week. So
Yeah, that would be big time.
all right. Got a
Fan
little
mail
fan
recap.
mail, yeah.
Yeah, we have our buddy Jimbo sent in his picks again this week. 6 and 10 out of Jimmy this week. Wasn't the best week. I know he was responding to our challenge from a couple weeks earlier. Um, yeah, I think this was when we challenged him to see if he could break the law of averages or not. You remember this challenge, Rhett?
Well, so he had the amazing week, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 14-2
Yeah,
in
right,
week
right.
number one. And so since then, there has been some regression to the average. But Jimmy, keep
It's a
sending
law
in
of
your
averages,
yeah,
just
just keep
just how
sending
it
in your
goes.
picks. We'll track him throughout the season, just as we have tracked our own, and we'll see who has the better record at the end of the season.
Yeah. No, by all means, keep sending them in. And that's all we have for you guys in this episode of the pod. You have anything else?
No, sir.
All right, guys. Enjoy this week of football. You got a good slate, college and pros, and we will see you next week to break it all down. Bye now.